With just 5 races left in the season, the development race is normally over as teams turn their attention to next year. But this season is different and I'm here for it. With the technical regulations staying the same next year, teams are free to keep bringing upgrades to their cars, knowing that they'll have an impact on next season as well. 2 teams at opposite ends of the grid are going to make massive changes to their cars, but will it make any difference to their positions this season? Let's check it out. Next weekend, Formula 1 will begin its 4-race-long American leg before heading to Abu Dhabi for the season finale. We have the United States Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas first, followed by Mexico City, Sao Paulo, and then the inaugural Las Vegas Grand Prix that we'll see racing in the middle of the night on the city's famous strip. And I mean middle. FP2 and qualifying start at midnight local time and the race is at 10 PM. That is over a month away yet though, so let's bring our focus back to Austin and the huge upgrades that are coming to the Haas car and Mercedes. Haas are going to have a completely new B-spec as their development of their current concept came to a complete standstill earlier this year. It's very rare that I have a reason to talk about Haas, and I always enjoy it when I do. But first of all, let's talk about the huge upgrade that Mercedes are going to have. I think it's pretty fair to say that Mercedes have not had as good a season as they hoped. The sweet taste of victory is still in their mouths from the 2010s, and every year they expect to be in with a chance of winning a title. This season, though, they've been nowhere near Red Bull. They have improved relative to Ferrari, but compared to Red Bull and now McLaren, they've made no progress. It was porpoising in 2022 that really ruined their season, and this year, though they've been bouncing less, they have just been treating the symptom, not the underlying disease. "We would like to get rid of the bouncing completely," said James Allison. Many teams are still dealing with a bit of bouncing, and this can also vary depending on the wind or the weight conditions or not. Due to how ground effect cars work, the risk of porpoising always needs to be a consideration when designing and setting up your car, but it is only Mercedes I've heard complain about it this season. In Austin, Mercedes will have a completely redesigned floor. This new floor will allow Mercedes a larger operating window in regards to the downforce they create at different ride heights. Last year, we designed a car that had to take advantage of ground clearances that were too low. This year, too high, Toto Wolff admitted. Now we think we know what and how to choose. Besides improving the car's performance, Mercedes technical director James Allison is hoping the design shows they're heading in the right direction. Hopefully, it will give us a bit of lap time, he said. That's always a benefit. But it is mostly a useful thing because it's a bellwether for whether we're on the right track. In lap time terms, it will be small. Useful, but don't expect us to have let past Max Verstappen. What is a little worrying about this statement is that it shows that Mercedes still aren't able to match up their design and testing in the factory to real-world behavior. Teams are always striving to get all their testing done digitally and in wind tunnels, so when they bring new parts to their car, they know it will be an improvement. A new floor is going to have cost a massive amount of money in research and testing time, and then the cost of producing them is significant as well. When Mercedes say that they're using the new floor to check they're going the right way, that's a worry, because this is an incredibly expensive way to check you're doing the right thing, when really, you should be doing that in the factory. The upgrade is not focusing on a performance improvement at particular types of track, nor rectifying a wide selection of areas of the W14 which Mercedes have identified they need to improve in, but is an important one because of how Formula 1's current cars use ground effect to generate downforce. I think that much of what ails us now is reasonably well understood and we're working to fix that, said Allison. He warned that time will tell whether those fixes will arrive on the car later on and be a success. The upcoming United States GP is a sprint race, so Mercedes will only have one session to work out their new floor and get the setup sorted for the entire weekend. That's a pretty tall task and one I hope they're up to. But now I want to talk about Haas, who are going to follow the example Mercedes set earlier this season. The American-owned outfit has remained an outlier in sticking to the in-wash sidepod solution that technical partner Ferrari began the new rules era with. But with Ferrari having ditched the in-wash solution at the Spanish Grand Prix and Mercedes having abandoned its zero pods from Monaco, Haas was left alone as the only squad not running the downwash concept that Red Bull has used to such incredible effect. That will change in Austin, as a major upgrade is planned which will include an overhaul of its sidepods. The decision to change approach was made before the summer break and was prompted by the team feeling it had hit a performance ceiling with its current car. Team principal Gunther Steiner said, "That was our biggest problem with the concept we have now. We couldn't find any performance anymore. We developed the whole year and there was nothing there. At some stage, you need to do something different, and we could not keep on banging our heads against the wall trying, while the other ones kept on finding gains. McLaren changed the system like this, and they found something at some stage. So at some point, you need to change concept and you need to face reality. Haas's failure to find improvements with its current concept meant the team had held back on spending any of its 2023 budget on manufacturing upgrades, which has left headroom to fund the changes planned for Austin. Steiner added, "The plan was to have more upgrades with the concept we've got now, but because we didn't find performance, we didn't introduce upgrades this year. There's no point to make car parts if the car doesn't go faster, so because we haven't spent that money, we can now spend it on this big upgrade." It's great to see this ambition from Haas. They actually started the season with some relative success, picking up 3 points finishes in their first 5 races, but since then a single point in Singapore and 3 from the Austrian sprint race hasn't been enough to hold on to 8th place, which they lost to Alfa Romeo in Qatar. Gunther was over the moon to say goodbye to the VF23 after the checkered flag in Qatar. The last race of this specification ended worse than it started. That's why we're grateful that its time is up. Secretly, there was hope that the old Haas would say goodbye with championship points, and they did come within touching distance. Hülkenberg was on track for points in the sprint before a crash through no fault of his own ended the dream. In the race, Kevin Magnussen lacked the speed to convert the right tactics into points, and Nico Hülkenberg tripped himself up when he took the wrong starting position. The VF23 is going to be well and truly gone in Austin, which will make Gunther happy. Operation Upgrade includes 3 kits of the B-Spec car featuring new side pods, underbody, cooling shafts, cooling gills, engine cover, brake linings, and heat shields. It has been so long since Haas has upgraded their car that they've had an entire off-season worth of time to develop these upgrades. It was a brave decision by the team to decide that there was nothing more they could do to the old car during the summer break and instead change everything mid-season. The timing of the upgrades might seem odd, but for Haas, using the upgrade 5 races before the end is important for 2 reasons. Of course, one hopes for better lap times as quickly as possible, especially since Alfa Romeo has overtaken them in the World Championship standings, and Williams are not that much further ahead in 7th place. Points mean prizes, and any extra places in the Constructors' Championship is more money for next year. But the engineers also want to learn for 2024 with this package. What works and what doesn't? How close is reality to the CFD numbers and wind tunnel data? With only 1 practice session in Austin, trying to get the car dialed in for a weekend of competitive sessions will be almost impossible. Chief Race Engineer Io Komatsu has said they won't see a McLaren-style jump in performance, and Kevin Magnussen stated that he isn't expecting a miracle. "I'm happy we get this upgrade for the next race. I'm excited about it," said the Dane, whose 10th place in Singapore is Haas's only point from the last 12 Grand Prix. It's really positive for the team to have that to look forward to get some new tools to play with, and hopefully we can find more performance. Do you think Haas can make a serious performance jump with their new upgrades? And do you have faith in Mercedes to find improvements with their new floor? Let me know your predictions in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.